decided to queue for hours to make it into the hall. Kamali.
Yes, Sarah, I mean, the reason that people have decided to queue for up to 8 hours is because they want to have the chance to pay their respects to Queen Elizabeth II, to get into Westminster Hall. But I think there's also a sense that being together in a huge crowd like this, that is sombre, reflective, also very respectful, it's a chance for people to come together and share in some of the grief, but also in some of the memories of Her late Majesty. Let's just bring in, if we can now, Maurice Helfgott, who's the chair of Trustees for World Jewish Relief. Maurice, thank you very much for being with us today. I mean, you're not in the queue, so we'll talk to you about your sense of being here and why you think that there is this coming together and the importance, perhaps, of the late Queen.
Her Majesty was an extraordinary individual. The duty, the loyalty, the respect, the dignity which she conveyed is, of course, recognized around the world. And I, coming here, feel that sense of coming together. And if she was a still point of focus in the middle of the chaos of the world, the dignity of the way we're respecting her passing is really valuable in terms of bringing us all together.
I mean, dignified is a really nice way to put it, because once people arrive here, they actually think that they're very close to getting in, but they have to suddenly start snaking through this queue, so it takes a lot of perseverance, doesn't it? But people do seem very optimistic and very sort of hopeful. It's quite a nice atmosphere. It's a joyous atmosphere here in the gardens, isn't it?
Well, it feels that it's that warm, quiet, optimistic bubble, and just as we're speaking, the sun has come out from behind the cloud and there's a lovely warm ray on our cheeks.
It's almost as if the universe was listening. Now, Maurice, you have obviously you've met the future king. I know that. Sorry, the current king, of course. He's a trustee of the charity. Just tell us the importance you think that King Charles III will have to continuing that unifying message that his mother had.
So King Charles is a patron of World Jewish Relief, and not just a patron in name, but a patron who is active, engaged, caring about the work we do to actively save lives around the world, but also not just for the people who recently he took the initiative to come and visit our office and visit our team and show his appreciation for the work that we are doing to save lives in Ukraine. And he is somebody who is incredibly, follows in the footsteps of his mother. He imbibed her values, her dignity, her warmth, her sense of duty, and he has his own natural, authentic style. He is incredibly inclusive, he is very energetic, and I know from personal experience that he will be an incredibly appropriate, dignified, powerful, important successor to Her Majesty.
Just talk to us then about the importance of being a figurehead like that for a charity, because we often hear about powerful figures being trustees, patrons of charities, and perhaps people don't quite understand what it is, the work that they do. They know that their names are on the stationery, but sometimes what is it they do and how do they actually help the charity and the work the charity is trying to do?
So in actively saving lives around the world, he has taken a personal interest in our work. Not only in the briefings that we give to his team, but he has come to our annual fundraising dinner and expressed the importance that our work has to him personally and encouraged people to support it. As I've said, he has come and visited our team. Over 16 years ago, he saw the opportunity in Poland to he visited Holocaust survivors in Poland and recognized that there was an opportunity and a need for Jewish life there to be reinvigorated. It was his initiative to do a Jewish community center there. We built it and he opened it, and now that center is being used to help Ukrainian refugees. And his inspiration, his impact is hugely important.
Maurice, may I ask you the impact and the influence that the royal family, late Majesty, and obviously King Charles III has on the Jewish community particularly? I mean, as you've mentioned, there is always this unifying message that we get. We certainly had from Queen Elizabeth II, talk to us about how it affects the Jewish community specifically.
So last night I had the privilege of attending a memorial service for Her Majesty the Queen at a synagogue led by the chief rabbi of the United Hebrew Congregations. We in our synagogues up and down the land, every single week we say a prayer for the royal family to ensure their prosperity and success, as we say that she and her counselors may deal wisely in the issues of the country and that there be peace. So of course she is very, very important to us. The great Danny Finkelstein, the commentator from the Times, used to say about his mum, if the Queen is safe in Buckingham Palace, then I am safe in Hendon Central. So there's a sense of tranquility, peace that she represents, and she and indeed the King are tremendously inclusive. As the head of the church, the established church in this country, the new King will say that he is a defender of faith, and for all those of faith communities, he will say he is a defender of the faith, and for all of us who are from faith communities and of none, that is tremendously important and assuring.
I mean, is it more than the institution and what the institution represents, but also the sense of the longevity of it, the fact that it's been there and it's endured for such a long time, and what that sort of tells us about keeping faith with things?
I think that's very well put. And I think that it is both the institution and the way in which they conduct themselves, the example that they give. What you can see in this queue is people from every single walk of life, from every background, from every nation, all united by a common respect for values. And that is good for all societies, members, including members of the Jewish community.
I mean, just before we came to you, we heard something from a central mosque in Regent's Park where people there were singing God Save the King. Yeah. I mean, and that's just again an example of across the faith, how people are trying to come together here. I mean, what lessons do you think we have to take forward? Because, of course, Queen Elizabeth II was a great unifier, but we have now got a new king. Do we need to make sure that message is continued in her vein?
I am absolutely confident, having had the privilege, as I say, of working closely or seeing up close the work of His Majesty. I am absolutely confident that he continues to represent those values.
It is a point of transition now, isn't it? I guess that there is that sort of chance for people to re-establish.
None of us live forever. And from generation to generation, we must pass these values. And he will represent them, and we should put our faith and confidence in him in doing so.
Certainly right. I mean, that's excellently put as well. Let's just get you to reflect a little bit on sort of the past few days, because, you know, the nation is in national mourning. How have you experienced this? I mean, in sort of your family and your friends' life, with people thinking about what happened last Thursday?
Well, some people say they were shocked. And of course, the moment is never expected in the moment. But from a personal point of view, I was less shocked because it was something that we could have anticipated. No one of us goes on forever. But then as the message sinks on, and we get to celebrate and recognize her life, it's the coming together. I mean, maybe other the commentators of yours have said that this line here is a work of public performance art. Whether you actually go through or see the Queen or not, this standing together, this moment of togetherness is representative of our values, and that's very, very powerful, that we can rise above things and come together.
Yeah, and I guess all the politics has been pushed to one side, and there is that sense of everyone being together in the queue, and the sort of the perseverance that people have to have, because once you get here as well, as I said, it's 2.5 hours. I mean, but I guess that the Queen instilled in us that sense of perseverance because of how long she was able to reign and her sense of duty.
I think she inspires it. I think her example inspired it. And because she went on so long, continuing to do it with such great dignity and perseverance till the end, we all want to raise our game.
Maurice Helfgott, really good to speak to you. Maurice Helfgott there from World Jewish Relief.
God save the King.
Thank you very much, Maurice. Look, I mean, Maurice has really just summed up exactly the feeling here that the Queen was a unifying force, and of course, the hope